right, Wheel of Time. Oh boy. I just finished reading The Dragon Reborn, which is book 3 of the Wheel of Time series a couple days ago. Have no idea where this is going, but does anyone? The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. Real quick, this is going to be a spoilery video, so if you have not read these books, go find another channel. I have given reaction or recap videos previously, so I'll link those here. With that said, I'll jump right into it. Book 3, The Dragon Reborn, is very similarly structured to the first 2 books in that we begin with a prologue and with a series of chapters that lead up to the inciting incident of the conflict of the current book that we're on. And then different things pull the group of characters their separate ways. And then by the end of the story, they all converge for the climax scene, and then there is a rallying victory with a big question mark after it. So that is kind of the structure of the first 3 books. It's very predictable in that sense. As far as anything else goes, you can't predict anything in this series. Gosh, at this point it's really hard for me to try and pick which book is a favorite, because I think they're all really important and really, really good in their own different ways. This book, there's so much happening. The stakes are even higher. Robert Jordan introduces a new shadow spawn. Darkhounds are what they are called. It reminds me of, if you've watched the show Supernatural, the Hellhounds, only bigger than those, the size of a pony. I always loved the episodes that had Hellhounds in Supernatural because you couldn't see them, but you could see their tracks, you could hear them. It just kind of made the hair stand up on the back of your neck. And so that's what I kept thinking of. God, I can't wait to see the television adaptation of Wheel of Time. It's going to be really cool. All of these different things coming together and getting to see these things. So we were introduced to Darkhounds, and then, as if Dark Friends weren't bad enough, now we have the Soulless, or the Grey Men, and they are just people who sacrifice their souls to serve the dark side, but the thing is they're forgettable, they're overlookable, if that's a word. A group of them could walk into a tavern and you wouldn't even notice them. It doesn't even register when they walk into a room, so they're capable of fooling the likes of even Lan, but not so much Perrin. Perrin is one of my favorite characters just because he's such a dynamic character. He's still having the struggle with being a wolf brother, but he's opening himself up to different things, whether it's romantic feelings for someone or embracing ththese dreams that he's having. He's just a really fun character to watch grow. And then he can actually smell these Soulless. They're worse somehow than the Murderal. So it's just really cool. He's a cool character. But the prologue of Book 3, The Dragon Reborn, it's similar in a way to the prologue of Book 2, The Great Hunt, in that Book 2's prologue, you're in a dark friend summit, basically, in the shadow of Sheol Gul. This book, we begin in the Fortress of the Light. We're in the Lord Captain Commander's personal quarters, and he is seeing different people to get reports on different things that he's keeping track of. One of the first people in his room is Bayar. If you remember Bayar, he was in the group of White Cloaks in Book 1 that captured Egwene and Perrin. He has kind of this weird, sick obsession with Perrin. He genuinely thinks Perrin is a dark friend, and he just has a personal vendetta against him. He was torturing Perrin, if you remember. Bayar was sent after the events of Book 2 to report back to the Lord Captain Commander on what happened with the Shan-Chan in the battle that happened at Falma. In Book 3, the prologue, the Lord Captain Commander meets with Bayar. Bayar tells him that Rand has declared himself the Dragon Reborn, Perrin is a dark friend, and he goes about his merry way. And then we see Caradin, who is his inquisitor, and he basically gives Caradin instruction to not kill Rand al'Thor because he wants to use Rand and his struggle with channeling the power to the light's benefit. He wants Rand to kind of wreak destruction across the land, to get people afraid, and then he wants to have the White Cloaks step in and save everyone. That is the Lord Captain Commander's plan with Rand, but as we see, Caradin gets a little visit from a Murderal, and we see that he is a dark friend, and the Dark One actually wants them to kill Rand. So then we have the Inquisitor Caradin, who is very torn on what to do because the Lord Captain Commander wants him to not kill him, while the Dark One wants Rand dead ASAP. Finally, in the prologue, we learn that the good old peddler Fane, or Mordeth, I think he is partially Mordeth, but he is going by a different name now, Ordeith, and he is essentially a consultant for the Lord Captain Commander, which we already knew the light was compromised by the shadow side, but this just kind of further drives home that fact. And I think that's all we see of the peddler in the third book. That kind of sets the stage for the events of this book, and I'm sure for the rest of the series. This book, you have the Darkhounds, you have the Soulless. So in the beginning, the book takes off in the Mountains of Mist. It is, I'm just referring to my notes here, it's Perrin, Rand, Moiraine, Lan, Min, Loial. They're in this Shienaran camp. Rand and Moiraine are kind of at each other's throats. They're just disagreeing on a whole lot. He is really struggling with accepting the fact that he is the Dragon Reborn. He is recognized now because of the battle that happened in Book 2, and he's in such distress that he's causing earthquakes. Can't really control them. Things are just shifting around him, and he has no control over any of it, and he's just struggling with that a lot. Things happen at the camp. Trollocs come and murder all, and after the group kills those and cleans up that mess, Rand takes upon himself to just go after Kalimdor, which is this sword of light, I guess, in the Stone of Tyr. He's been dreaming about it. I think he's just gotten to the point where he's just like, you know what, if this is going to be my fate, my destiny, let's just get this show on the road. And so he sneaks out of the camp and goes after the Kalimdor by himself. Perrin, Loial, Moiraine, Lan, their quest becomes to go after Rand. And then, meanwhile, we have Varen, Huron, which is the sniffer from Book 2, Egwene, Elayne, not Princess Elayne, thank you, Nicholas, the daughter heir Elayne, and Nynaeve, who are hauling Mat, who is on his deathbed, essentially, back to Tar Valon so that he can get the cure that he needs now that they have the Ruby Dagger back. One of my favorite branches to read in this series was the plotline surrounding Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elayne. First off, I love how close they've all become. They're just a really strong group of women. They're becoming more powerful, as we saw with how they kind of got the White Cloaks to back off when they were making Earth come up out of the ground and make a wall to block them and get them away. They're just becoming more and more powerful, and it's been really fun to see those powers evolve. I don't even know which one's supposed to be the most powerful because I feel like they're all have made significant strides in their capabilities. You know, Nynaeve has been ascended to an accepted, and now Egwene and Elayne have that opportunity to go through their 3 trials to become an accepted as well. While they're busy with that, Tar Valon has become this school of horror, so that's been a really fun, kind of mysterious, scary thing to watch. There's Black Aja walking the halls. The Daughter of the Night is walking the halls. There's the Soulless making killing attempts on the girls. And the Amyrlin seat has tasked them with finding out more about the Aes Sedai that left Tar Valon and seeing if they can uncover, you know, more Black Aja. They help Mat get out of Tar Valon, and the deal is that he delivers a message to Elayne's mother. He delivers the message, but we see that even Queen Morghase's inner circle has been compromised. Her new, I don't know, bodyguard, knight, whatever. Morghaze is blinded by her feelings with her guard, who actually wants to kill Elayne. So there's just a lot going on. It just seems like there's a couple Forsaken that all run different cities. There's little pockets of the shadow side that are kind of springing up and running things, and it's making it harder for the good guys. Another fun part that I really enjoyed in this book was watching Mat. First off, we see far less of Rand's point of view in this book, which I'm happy about. He's been very doom and gloom, woe is me, which hasn't been really fun in my opinion to read. So I really, really enjoyed the spotlight shining on Perrin and Mat, especially Mat, just because he hasn't really gotten a lot of love in the previous books. I think he had some of the funnest scenes in this book after he's cured by the Aes Sedai and leaves Tar Valon. Well, first off, before he even leaves Tar Valon, just does a fighting match, 1 him versus 2 Galad and Gawain, I think is how you say their name, but he beats their ass with a quarterstaff while they have their practice swords, but which is a shock because Galad especially is supposed to be this really natural fighter and be amazing, and Matt just kind of knocks them down a peg, and that was a really fun scene to watch. But besides that, it's like, is Matt, because he blew the horn, is he becoming one of these heroes of the past because he can fight really well, and now he seems to have like really, really good luck. The luck kind of helps watch his back because people are trying to kill him, as we see when he gets on the road. Now, one thing that I did notice that I don't know how I feel is I felt like Loial the Ogier was very muted. Like, his character was very passive and wasn't in the spotlight a lot, and I don't know if that's for a purpose. I've always enjoyed reading Loial scenes, and I hope, as his name sounds like, I hope he is a loyal character that can't be swayed to the dark side. But like, I felt like so many of the scenes were him by himself, like in his room by himself, working on his book. But it's like, what are you doing, really? Are you really doing that, Loial? So I don't know. It's like, I want to trust him, but like, I don't know. Robert Jordan has made me feel like I can't trust anybody at this point. So, and then there were probably two things. I'm sure there were more things, but there were probably two main things that annoyed me in reading The Dragon Reborn. Nynaeve and the hair tugs. In the previous books, when she gets agitated, frustrated, anxious, she tugs her braid, and that's fine. You know, Robert Jordan would describe it a couple times, maybe, I think. Maybe it was a handful of times. Maybe it was a handful of times in previous books. But it was like double digits. Nynaeve tugged her braid ferociously. Nynaeve jerked her braid. Nynaeve gave a sharp tug of her braid. It was like there was so much braid tugging that it became distracting for me. And it's like, how do you have any hair left to pull, Nynaeve? But I don't know. That was just one thing. It's a really tiny thing that just annoyed me reading it. But the other was, you have Egwene running into the Daughter of the Night, Selene. You have Selene coming to Matt's room when he's in recovery from being cured. And no one is talking about this woman to anyone. Like, no one is describing her in detail. No one is reporting what she's saying to the Amerlin seat. Maybe it's because no one trusts anyone at this point to be a good guy. But, like, no one is talking about this. I'm like, if there was some beautiful woman, like, egging me on to get all of this power and glory for myself and making, like, secret meetings with me or kind of threatening me, like Egwene, wouldn't you say something to somebody, like, so that everyone can be hyper aware of this person going forward and watch their back? But that was just another thing that irked me. But again, teenagers, maybe. But there are just so many developments. Like, there were so many eerie parts too, like learning that Elsa is no longer in the running to be an Aes Sedai, that she was dismissed a while back, yet they just saw her delivering messages in the hallways of Tarvalon. It's like, she's obviously a dark friend. There are so many intricate little things happening, a million things going on, and it's kind of fun just getting lost in all of it and just kind of going where the winds take you. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this video of me rambling on and on about book 3 of the Wheel of Time series. There are some other things, probably major points, that I didn't really touch on, but there's a couple parts in the book where Moraine is talking about worlds, plural, resting on Rand's shoulders, and the fact that he swears he's fighting the Dark One at the end of each book and beating them, yet the Dark One still exists, makes you believe that the thing that he has been fighting is not in fact the Dark One, but perhaps a Forsaken or something else on the shadow side. So there are all those other pieces too, kind of going on in the background of everything else. But if you enjoyed this video, I hope you like it and subscribe, and until next time, bye!